Hello, it's me. Hey y'all, I am introducing you to a more spiritual side of me. And on this side, I'm going to talk about the things I know on the spiritual plane that you may not be aware of. I'm not going to act like I'm the most spiritual person that there is because I'm still learning and growing. But what I do know, I'm going to share it with you. So hold on and hang on, and I'm going to let you know what I know. Well, hello and welcome to Spiritualista segment to episode 3. Today I want to talk about a topic that is something that I have personally experienced and not anything that's really going to be based on something that we can research. I mean, you can, but it's just going to be mostly based on my experience. And today's topic is going to be dialogue before death. And when I say that, I'm talking about what I experienced personally, the dialogue that I had with my parents or my sibling had with my father, because I wasn't there when he passed. I was there before my mom passed, before they passed away. And the things that they said, and the things that they were doing that made me kind of know that they were passing. I mean, I knew anyway, but it made me know what they were experiencing. I was there with my mom. I was not there with my dad. I was still in Georgia, and my sister was there taking care of him in Orlando. So I'll speak about my experience with my mom first, and then I'll tell you the second-hand experience with my father. Now, while these experiences, of course, were a time of grief and sadness for us, because, of course, our parents were in their last stages of life, and who wants to ever deal with that or want to have to come to grips with that or come to the reality that you're losing your favorite person, your favorite people, and that their time has come. I mean, when you're younger, you don't think about your parents' morality. Who does? Like, you don't want to think about your parents' morality because you love your parents, and if you have a good relationship with your parents, it's something that you don't want to think about, and you kind of push to the back of your mind until that time comes, right? So it was the time coming. And the conversations that my mother was having was, she was calling on my deceased grandmother, who was, like I said, deceased before I even met her. And I knew if she was calling her and saying, and I asked her, I said, "Do you see her?" And she said, yes. She nodded her head that she did. And I know that sounds like something that somebody should be really afraid of. At the time, I was surprised, but I was not afraid, because I knew that she had a beautiful and great relationship with her mother. She really loved her mother. She missed her mother. And I was like, if my grandmother is there, well, since my grandmother is there to greet her, then I am comforted knowing that someone that she loved in life and really missed will be there to greet her again. And that I can rest assured that someone that loved her in life and cared for her, aside from myself, and my siblings, of course, is going to be there on the other side to greet her. So I was like, I got comfort in that. Of course, it made me sad because I loved my mama. I didn't want her to go. But even though she was suffering and in pain, there was somebody there that was going to be there to greet her. So she was call out to her and say her mother's name and say mother. And I was like, oh, okay, that must be what she's experiencing. And it wasn't a one-time occurrence. It happened more than once. And while it made me sad, it gave me comfort knowing that there was going to be somebody there for her. as she transitioned to the other side, that she was comfortable with, that she loved and she missed and would get a chance to see again. My dad's story is different because I was there a lot for him and with him during his latter days, but I wasn't there for his final days, which was with my sister in Orlando. I was in Atlanta, so I wasn't there. My dad had Alzheimer's, so he had been having lucid days all of a sudden, and my sister and I knew that with him having lucid days after having so many years of having completely incoherent days and talking about things that were before we were even born, and possibly things from when he had a previous relationship before my mother that he had with children that we never got a chance to meet because they were separated because of that time period being a racist time period. It was before the internet, so tracking them down was virtually impossible, and being separated because of racism. So I was never able to meet my two oldest siblings before he passed, and still haven't as of yet. During that time period, and speaking of things like that, but not clearly speaking of the other children, I knew he was speaking of that time period, but I'm like, I can't really put my finger on it. And she couldn't either. But we knew that's what he was speaking of. And with him having a moment of clarity and saying things to his nurse, like, when she was like, "See you tomorrow, Mr. Leonard." And he was like, "No, you won't. I'm going home to be with Jesus. I'm going home to be with my wife." And she was like, "Excuse me?" And my sister perked up and she was like, "Dad, what did you say?" And he said, "I said you won't see me tomorrow because I'm going home to be with Jesus. I'm going home to be with my wife." And as you know, my mother passed away in 2014. It was 2020, 6 years later. For someone with Alzheimer's to be saying that so clearly, it was like, oh, he said that. Wow, he said that. Like, that was kind of like, that was a wow factor for him to actually say that. But to me, that was an undeniable and an undisputable that he and my mother had that type of dialogue with themselves, their loved ones that passed before them, with us, and it was right before their death. And it gave them comfort knowing that someone was there to greet them. It gave me comfort knowing someone was there to greet them, and that they were not going to be alone in death, and that there was going to be somebody that they loved and cared for, and they wanted to see there for them. Of course, we're sad about it, and we loved them and we wanted them to stick around forever and be with us forever. But you had a mother that was in pain and a father that was suffering from Alzheimer's, and it was just their time. And God saw fit for them to come home. And they did. And that was the dialogue we had with them before their death. Or the dialogue that they had with us or their loved ones or their ancestors before their death. And, it's a big part of why I believe in the afterlife, and that our loved ones are there for us when we transition, and God and Jesus. It's a big part of why I believe that. A huge part. And why my faith is what it is. And why I believe in so many various things. But mainly why I believe in God and Jesus. Mainly why. And I know they're real. And that they set people in place, and that our ancestors are real, and who our ancestors are to us. And that they are there for us. I do. That's why when I have my lucid dreams and my mom is in them, my best friend Allison Patrice is in them, rarely my dad, but because he leaves it up to my mom. That's because they know what I need spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and they are there for me, and they always will be. And getting choked up now, but it's just the reality of things. And just being honest, that's how I feel. That's how I know. That's what I know. It's what I believe. So I'm thank y'all for coming to my TED Talk and listening to what I had to say about that. And more spiritual things that I remember and that I experienced, I'll share with you and tell you guys about it. Make sure you share this video, like, comment, subscribe, and share for me, because I like sharing this part of me with you guys. And I love y'all. I'm out of here. Peace.